where do you see the most potential for growth in Pakistan's specialty coffee sector over the 5 years? So you've visited these cafes, you know, and truthfully, you even talked to the baristas, and you took some information from them in the specialty coffee sector, because that's even a big talking point in itself. Like, a lot of the people don't know what the difference is between a specialty coffee and commercial coffee.
Sure.
Even though I can make those videos, but people don't. It's about not just consuming the content, but also intentionally listening to what we're trying to do.
Right.
So in the specialty coffee sector in Pakistan, what do you feel like is the most important aspect that should be informed to the users? Like,
well, I think if I think about some of the kind of next 5 years future of specialty coffee here, I think, yeah, I mean, I think one, you're going to have more and more people consuming and understanding about coffee.
Yeah.
I think you're generally going to see increase of consumption, increase of awareness. Look, like the question of what specialty is, I mean, the world is working on, is wrestling through that right now.
Yeah.
And you have some very, what you might see is more kind of advanced coffee consuming countries that are starting to move away from self-identifying as a specialty cafe or specialty coffee company, because it's kind of when it begins to be overused, it just kind of loses its meaning, right? Like, if everybody says their specialty, is anybody really special? You know? And so that's some of more kind of the advanced or what we might see as kind of more larger history of consuming markets are experiencing that. And I think what I hope happens is those companies, and I was having a conversation the other day with one of the participants that came to one of the workshops, that for me, while everybody using specialty is, I'd like to say I wish there was a definition that we could hold, or a standard that we could hold people to say that if you do X, Y, and Z, then you can call yourself specialty. We don't have that. And so we can either say, well, we can kind of sit and bask or loathe in our, oh, we don't have that and woe is us, or we can be proactive in saying, what do I mean by being specialty? Or what do I mean? What are the values that our cafe, that our roastery, that our business is built around? And really putting that to the forefront for consumers. Instead of maybe hiding behind this ideal or this word or whatever it is, I think it gives businesses an opportunity to really build their own value and showcase that to the consumer of, what do we mean by special? We mean this, this, and this. And we can define that for our consumers. And so I think over the next couple of years, I think as you see more and more consumers engaging with coffee and learning more about coffee, from what I understand, there's a lot of cafes that are opening, and there's a lot of growth in that space. And I think unfortunately you'll probably see some of those maybe come and go just because of the challenges of running a business and trying to capture new market share. But I think what that's going to do is it's going to increase exposure to the average consumer. And I think it's going to provide an opportunity to not only provide a differentiated experience, so different coffee qualities, different coffee types, different consuming methods to the average consumer, but it is, I think, going to really create a unique opportunity to lay those foundational concepts of education of what coffee is to the average consumer. I think you're going to continue to see opportunities for standing out and what that might look like, whether that's through different values, whether that's through different concepts or how do we differentiate ourselves in that market. And I think one of the more long-term strategies for that is by the values that we run our business under and that we really try to invite our customers into.
I think there's like adding on to what you just said, it's also, well, I mean, it's also about the originality of why you want to do it, right? So each owner is going to have their own proof of concept of why they want to open up a coffee shop, and that should be translated through the baristas, with the coffee drinks, the menu, the ambience, all of that, the music that's even playing, the seats.
Sure.
So I feel like you're right with what you're saying, that it needs to be very well thought out, and it just, if everyone's specialty, then who is actually specialty? Who am I specialty at this point? What's going on, right?
Yeah.
Is the coffee that I'm brewing at home, is that specialty? Even though I'm watching the process, is there still going to be specialty? So yeah, no, that's interesting. And so we talked about a lot about the industry, the future as well. You executed some of the trainings that were with the baristas, and you saw what they were doing and everything. So I'm going to be focusing a little bit on the skill set for these people. So what do you think will be the most important skill for the next generation of coffee makers, basically? So it can be like home brewers, or even I would more focus on the baristas, because I feel like they need a lot more love. What would be some of the skills that you would say that these people need to instill in themselves, so that they're optimal?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think that I wouldn't. My answer to that question isn't going to be use a scale more often. It's not just small scale. Even though I think scales are important. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think the awareness of using a scale is going to come with education, with understanding why we do that.
Yeah.
I think what I would say would be a really important skill is to be a lifelong learner. Passionately pursue learning and trial and error, and I think that we can take in information. We can, somebody says, oh, we do it like this or do it like that. That's great, but experiment, try something new. I think, experience truly is the greatest teacher.
Yeah.
And I think, and I realize that might not necessarily be a skill, but I think it's being okay with pursuing that and giving the freedom to do that. I think that there's a really, I think, important opportunity to improve our own ability, our own skill, but even having a greater pride in what we do, in what baristas are doing, by passionately experimenting and experiencing and learning more.
I agree, because I feel like the more you experiment with, let's say, the tamper, or let's say the server, or the V60, or anything, the grinder even, the more you get comfortable with it, and the more you get comfortable, then you can find the sweet spot as to what you need to do when you're actually making coffee. So I completely agree with that. Adding on to that, what do you see in the coffee professionals, and as an emerging specialty coffee market, what do you see usually people lacking in their mindset, or even skills, but more so in their mindset, that you've seen across the globe, even that is also present here, that you would be should be addressed at some point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's, I think a very kind of small example. I think that we were talking earlier about, kind of crawling before you walk, and kind of understanding some of those kind of foundational concepts. I think is something that's important, and you see that everywhere. I've got a buddy who's got a cafe in the U.S., which you think of as an advanced, long history, and there's baristas that might not understand what different coffee processing methods are and things like that. So you find that everywhere. That's not unique to here, but I think that there's, I see the role of the barista as a really important communicator of the coffee supply chain. They're the ones that are directly in front of the consumers. They have an opportunity to tell the story of coffee, to talk about, and you know, I told you early on, my time in coffee really started by being at the farm. So my mind always goes to the farm. You know, I drink a cup of coffee and I taste the notes and I taste the flavors and I think about the farm. It's not to diminish the role of the barista, because I couldn't enjoy it if they didn't prepare it. But I see that role of the barista as playing a critical representation of that supply chain and of that journey of coffee. And when we don't have that foundational concept, foundational knowledge, foundational education, it kind of handcuffs us in terms of what we can really represent and what we can share. And so I think that's an opportunity that exists in this market of better equipping baristas with that knowledge and information to be better representatives of not only that company, because so what does it do? Like, so are you saying I need to know what a wash processed coffee is in order to sell, you know, in order to work in this business? No, not necessarily, but I think it strengthens the brand of a cafe. It strengthens, you know, it makes baristas better salespeople, engaging with consumers or engaging with customers, that then communicates a level of expertise, a level of appreciation, a level of professionalism that again goes to contribute and builds that brand for that business.
Yeah, I feel I absolutely agree. Like, I feel like the baristas are like the hook that can attach to any customer if the hook knows what they're doing. Or at least know a little bit about the coffee, you know, and especially the coffee that they're serving. You know, that's I feel like quite important. And so you've seen like cafes, roasteries, all types of roasteries and cafes all across the globe, right? What do you feel like how can trainers work with roasteries and cafes, especially in Pakistan, to just raise the overall standard for like the coffee that they're making in a cup or they're roasting, you know? What do you feel like are like, how can they like raise the standard for like the product that they're making?
I mean, I think there's very foundational kind of SOPs and best practices and, you know, weighing shots and making sure grinders staying calibrated, and, you know, but those types of practices have to be intentionally created. And I think one of the challenges that can happen in a cafe is, you know, the saying, kind of the squeaky wheel gets the attention, you know, and as long as somebody's not complaining, then we're good.
We're good.
And sometimes they might be complaining, just not to you. And that's the biggest danger,
that's the
right?
worst part,
So I think putting in those best practices that ensure a consistent high quality product, whether that's through machine maintenance, whether that's through investment in people and training, I think are all really important aspects that will allow those businesses to continue to deliver a higher quality product. I think, you know, businesses investing in their baristas, in their roasters, in providing training, while I acknowledge, I get it's a cost and there's a cost associated with that, I really do think it kind of pays back tenfold, because it creates a better quality product, a better experience, and then that brings in more business. And so, I would say those are some of those things that would be important.
I feel like those basics can really elevate the business that you're doing, whether it's making a cup of coffee, you know, the more you train in that person or that barista, you know, that cup of coffee gets better, even if it's marginally, you know, if a person who can notice that marginal difference is there, you know, you made bank at that point. And same goes for roasteries as well. So so we're almost to the end now. My penultimate question is going to be, what is one misconception about specialty coffee that you wish more people knew about? This is the only edgy question we have. All the other ones are redacted. I can't say those questions.
So I think that what's one of the misconceptions people have about specialty coffee? I think that I hate the fact that, I dislike the fact that specialty coffee seems, it many times is presented as an unapproachable type of idea or concept. That, you know, that's for those people up there, or you know, I'm just your average consumer. Like, it's not something, and what I think happens in specialty coffee is we create these barriers to entry. You need this, and this, and then you can come play with us. And it's, I hate that, because I really, to me, you know, we could talk and we could probably talk for days about what is specialty coffee and how do we define that and what does that mean. But for me, at its core, there's ideas of traceability and transparent, and there's actually values that are really critical to specialty coffee. And whatever kind of coffee you're drinking, or however you like to drink your coffee, we can experience and journey together with specialty coffee, pursuing however you want to drink it, pursuing those values. Like, I really bugs me when somebody says, you know, even some of the conversations we had this week about, well, only single origin coffees are specialty coffee. Well, no, like, I can have a blend that in my mind that still holds those values of what specialty coffee is.
Absolutely.
And I understand where that comes from. Like, I'm not knocking on people who might think that, but I actually, for me, when I hear people say that, it makes me more upset about the person who told them that than about the person who heard that and maybe thinks that. Because for me, I'm like, no, like, it's not about that. Like, you can enjoy blends, you can enjoy lattes, you could enjoy a flavored latte if you want to. Like, it's, for me, specialty coffee is about our desire to see producers live better lives, to see individuals in this industry see their livelihoods improved. Like, there's those values that are really important. And yes, you know, there is a quality, a higher quality experience component of that. But for me, one of those misconceptions is that, you know, I have to be drinking this V60 single origin such and such coffee for it to be considered specialty coffee. And I think it's actually so much more than that. And there's so much more opportunity out there to invite people into experiencing that I think is way more valuable. And so I think that the misconception that, you know, specialty coffee is reserved for this select group of people who have gone through these international certifications or gone through these special, you know, they have these certificates. To me, that's really unfortunate, because I think we miss what really specialty coffee is all about, which is about the people, about those values that we share together, that we try to leave coffee better than we found it. And to me, that's really unfortunate. That makes sense. Like, you know, no one needs to be sitting on the highest pedestal and being like, you know, that's specialties, but your drinking is actually not specialty. And it kind of creates this red ocean where everyone's just out to get one another and be like, I know better. When I joined Nomad, so initially when I talked to people, you know, a lot of people knew everything, and I was just like, I know nothing. But the people that I talked to over here were very inviting, in the sense that they created like a blue ocean. They were like, I know this much, but you can also know this much, and then we can tell everyone this much, so that we can all, you know, grow together, instead of just being like this cafe or this person knows everything and they're the almighty who can you know, give us the information, and everyone else can just wait for some crumbs, I guess. But in reality, it can be like everyone can love specialty, enjoy specialty the way they want, and no one needs to hate on each other's, you know, drinks or anything. So I feel like it's more about the general mindset. I feel like that needs to be a little bit more progressive and, you know, for the people instead of, you know, for me. That was interesting. And so one last thing that I just want to ask is, what is something that is changing globally in the coffee industry altogether
that you feel like our viewers or me or us should know? That,
yeah, I mean, so when we think about, we talk about issues at the consuming side, and we talk so much about the cafe. I mean, we really are seeing globally significant challenges in coffee production. You see an aging population of coffee producers. You see regions and areas where because of whether it's climate issues, whether it's rainfall issues, whatever they are, where areas that we're seeing historically have been significant contributors to global coffee volumes and production. We see those declining. We see those kind of issues of economic sustainability of coffee production. The reality that many producers across the world are living below the poverty line as coffee producers. And so those types of issues, while you might think, well, why do I care? I'm sitting in a cafe here in, Karachi. Why do I care about, the plight of the coffee producer in Honduras or Nicaragua or Papua New Guinea? The reality is it does affect you. It affects pricing, one, and so the cost of coffee is influenced by that. But, there's a lot of discussion around what does the future look like for coffee, where countries that historically have been coffee producers, what happens when they don't find coffee production viable any longer and they want to move away from that? And how does that influence our access to supply, but even just the variety of coffees that we've come to really know and love and enjoy? Is that still going to be there? And so those, I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like such an existential discussion. I mean, there are some very, very, very important, serious considerations that people have. And it's, I think what we're going to see is changing regions and areas that historically would grown coffee. They're going to move away from that, and maybe there'll be some newer regions or origins online, or maybe there'll be different varieties or different kind of genetics of coffee that will change the profiles of what we're experiencing. But that, I think, where it relates to the consumer side of the industry is, one of those values in specialty coffee industry is transparency and traceability, knowing where that coffee is coming from, how that farmer, how that producer has been compensated for their coffee. And look, pricing is a very complex thing, but at its core, in the specialty industry, or if we're going to claim specialty coffee, I don't think people should be being paid below poverty levels for their product. I mean, call me crazy, but I don't think that's something that we want to support. And so that's something where, that's happening globally, that I think we as consumers and on the consuming side of the industry need to be aware of, and understanding how that plays a role in the future of coffee.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, because that if those people are informed, the people who are drinking the coffee, consumers, just general public, just know what a farmer is going through. They might even encourage their cafes to be like, yo, what are you doing to support your roasters who are and then gonna go upwards in the chain, instead of just going downwards and being like, I want where's my frappe or something like that. You go upwards and make some noise, I guess. So I think we had some a great discussion. I feel like we learned a lot about things that not a lot of people are talking about, and they should be talking about it. And I would just like to thank you for taking your time out in your schedule and talking to me with coffee, who's just also learning, but I love it, so I'm gonna be here for a bit. So thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, no problem.
Any final words?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you to you for putting this together, and for the Nomad team. It's been such an incredible opportunity, and it truly has been an honor to be here and to learn together, and to learn from y'all's experiences, and it really is exciting to see the excitement of coffee. Like it's palpable here. Like you can feel that excitement about what we're doing and what's being done here and the future opportunities. And so just, yeah, we'll just say thank you so much. And I look forward to when I get to come back.
Yeah.
Got another day here and then
Yeah.
head back to the US. But I'm excited to figure out when I can make another trip over here. And
absolutely.
but it's been such an honor to be here and really excited. And thank you all, and thank you to the Nomad team for your wonderful hospitality.
No, thank you. And I think that'll be it. Yeah, I think that should be it. Sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.